Hello everyone and welcome back to Dragalia Foundry, a fan channel where everything Dragalia Lost can be found. In today's video, I'm going to be summoning for Hunter Sarisse and Dreadking Rathalos on part 2 of the Monster Hunter Primal Crisis banner. I'm pretty excited to dip into my wyrmite, my summon vouchers today, and try pick up Sarisse. This has been over a year in the making if you've been following this channel. I've been trying to get Gala Sarisse. Since she was released, I dropped about 30 to 40k wyrmite when she came out, was not able to get her. I tried again to get her on the anniversary gala, spent, well, more than I'd like to admit on the anniversary gala, including about the same amount of wyrmite there, did not get her then. So this is really my best opportunity yet to finally get some type of a Sarisse alt, and I decided to summon today despite the possibility of Valentine's coming up, because I kind of want to bind my hands, if you will, and constrain myself to make this decision now, rather than wait until I have more information and might lean toward Valentine's. The reason that I'm doing that is because I do feel that collaboration is limited, but even more limited than things like holidays. We already saw Valentine's get a rerun once last year for around August, I want to say, after the summer banner. We got another shot at the Valentine's units and the event came back. So this is the second rerun of the event, even though there's going to be new content. I do think there's a possibility we're going to get new units on that banner, and one of my fears is that we spend a lot today on Hunter Sarisse and we end up seeing a peek at something like Valentine's Eleonora. But I think in my own best interest, if I really want to go at this from a more free-to-play standpoint here, I think I would have to make the tough decision that Monster Hunter collaboration is even more limited than seasonals. So I do think Valentine's Day is more likely to return sooner rather than Monster Hunter. And for that reason, I'm going to commit myself here before I even know what's coming for Valentine's Day, just so that I don't get influenced too heavily by how much I want to pull those units. Alright, so first things first though, I'm here on the event page, and the second part of the event started today in addition to the second part of the banner. We got a couple of new things like the Omega Battle. I already finished the solo of that for the Fatalis Clash, but I have not checked out some of these trials. I tried the Dreadking Rathalos trial solo, but I haven't tried the advanced solo or the quote-unquote co-op version of the Dreadking's trial. So let's start off with the advanced solo, and then I'm going to do the co-op version of the Dreadking trial. And we'll see just how difficult these are. I am using a pure flame team this time around. There's once again two monsters for us to fight here. It looks like this one is just a normal Rathalos, and the other one must be the Dreadking. I wonder if there's also a Dread Queen Rathalos, or Rothian, perhaps. I guess there would probably have to be. But maybe not. You know, some species do have one queen or king, as it were. One of them, the normal Rathalos, looked like it just lay down there and took a nap. Thought we had defeated it for a second, but still got some amount of HP left. That should change pretty quickly on break here. Unless we just whiff completely. We didn't whiff completely, actually. We kind of hit both of them a little bit. Alright, one down, and the other one should be down pretty quickly. So, these trials were pretty fun. I did enjoy them. I do think they are tuned on the easier side, especially with things like the bonuses, raid boosts that you can get nowadays. I do have Chimera weapons and High Dragon weapons, Agito weapons, so it's not as big of a challenge, but if these are a hurdle for you, the good thing about them, it's pretty much one and done on these trials, or at least one daily, because there are endeavors around these to try continuously repeat them every day that they are around. So now we finished Advanced Dreadking Rathalos Trial Solo. Let's try the quote-unquote co-op version of the Dreadking Rathalos Trial, since I haven't done that yet, and that goes in and out from day to day. So this is, I guess, meant for co-op in that you can play it co-op, But you definitely don't have to play it co-op, so I'm going to look for a plus 600 Lowen here. I know I have a few of them. Let's see. I just feel like having a healer is probably a good thing. There we go. And head into it. So I expect there to maybe be... Oh, this is just the regular trial, so it's just going to be one, but it's Dreadking. I expect this to be a little harder than the solo version. It was kind of cool. The solo version, there are new patterns. The damage feels more significant, like maybe you would need to pay attention to the tells and so on, but at some point, unfortunately with the way the weapons are, you can kind of just brute force stuff like this. And I don't know if that's necessarily unfortunate, because you do have to grind up a lot to get a high dragon weapon, and to a lesser extent an Agito weapon, but high dragon weapon is kind of a prerequisite for an Agito weapon anyway, so there's some amount of work you have to put in to be rewarded with easier event content like this. And we're, taking a beating there. We're just kind of face tanking it. I'm basically just tapping the screen, so I'm sure that we're going to break Dreadking Rathalos very soon, and when we do, I'm going to use S1 and then transform. Unfortunately, with how the targeting is on these Monster Hunter bosses, dragons like Arctos do have a tendency to miss, but we got in a clean hit there. Fairly small amount of damage. You do want to be dealing like 1 million damage with that Arctos during break. That always feels very good in Expert Volk. But not a trivial amount of damage, and we don't have Halloween Mim here, so let's go ahead and grab this. I don't think it'll be enough for a dragon, but why not? And looks like it's about summoning time for us, y'all. This should be over in a flash at this point. Probably could have just S1'd there instead of risking it on Arctos' aim, but we're able to get the job done. So that's it for these trials. There's going to be an advanced version of that same trial. That's the co-op flavor or variant, so I will check that out tomorrow, but probably not post a video on it. Likely just do it with stamina like I've done here. But yeah, pretty fun. I'm glad that we got a little refresh. It would be cool to see like Fatalis and Rathalos and Dreadking Rathalos all in one arena. But as for Dreadking Rathalos, much like Fatalis, very, very strong dragon, and that's part of the reason I'm excited to be summoning today. So I know that we've taken this diversion. Let's go ahead and actually get into the action. I'm not going to spend any more time on the endeavors or anything else here. Here's the deal with this banner. It looks like they just decided to separate out Sarisse and Dreadking Rathalos as the only new units here. Student Maribel has also been given a raid up, so don't be surprised if you happen to get her. Leviathan is also on a raid up. The dragons have higher appearance rates than the adventurers. Serena and Thaniel at 4-star have a raid up, but I don't need either of them. Bodunoi also has a raid up. Very solid banner for the flame and water element, respectively, and I guess what they wanted to do here was make sure that each of the characters had an accompanying dragon. I still don't have Hunter Berserker off the first banner, but I think the highest priority here is to pick up Dreadking Rathalos with how interesting and powerful it looks. And for me personally, Hunter Sarisse, because I have wanted a Sarisse alt for so long and not been able to get one. So we're going to start off with our 10 single summons, but what I really appreciate about all of these Monster Hunter units, and this would apply to Sarisse and Rathalos as well, is that they actually change how you approach the mechanics of the game and how you want to play to try to optimize. So I think it's very cool that all the Monster Hunter units are designed around their 4 strikes, but it would still have to be, they would still have to be pretty good in order for those designs to make it better to use 4-strike related mechanics rather than just try spam out skills. And I think all of them are pushed enough that not only do they play in different ways, but they actually want even things like different dragons. For a long time, we were in a meta that was defined by skill damage. The skill damage dragons, starting with Siren's release, got a massive power increase to the point that they provided 90% skill damage when max unbound. So for a long while now, dragons like Shinobi, like Konohana Sakuya, like Vayu, Siren, had been at the frontier as far as power level. And as of this year, I think that the devs have really started to push back and decided that they want to diversify the dragon selection even more. Now, to some extent, we've seen that with special adventurers for whom certain dragons inherently are a lot better than others. Like Delphi is a great example of a character for whom you really want a strength dragon. You don't want to mess around with a skill damage dragon at all. Durant is the same way because he has no attacking skills. But this year, we've seen it more on the side of dragons than adventurers with things like Daikokuten for New Year's. Basically an 80% strength dragon if you can maintain the whirlwind strength effect. We've also seen it with Garland. If you can maintain, I don't really know the name of the effect, but if you can avoid basically being knocked back, you get 80% strength. Fatalis, 80% strength dragon for Shadow, but when you transform, you're going to be cursed the rest of the match. You can't avoid that with things like Curse Res, Cleanse mechanics, or Affliction Guard, but still, pretty big drawback. So I think they've really been more willing to push the power level on these dragons, and Dreadking Rathalos gives you so much strength on top of providing a large amount of force strike damage on top of striking haste. It may have the gauge decelerator drawback, but it's not even that big of a drawback because in a lot of scenarios, the timing of when you break doesn't matter that much. I can't think of that being too influential as far as wind content in particular. The timing doesn't matter that much. Sometimes you get a good break, like you break right as Master Hyman Gertzhormer is casting Gale Blast, and it lets you skip the first Gale Blast, reducing the chance that you will fail and wipe the match. But in any case, this is probably still a net increase on your overall damage to the overdrive gauge because of the large amount of force strike damage you're getting. Even though you have the 30% gauge decelerator, that's more than offset, I believe, by the 60% force strike damage. And what I think is just fascinating about this is that characters who are running Dreadking Rathalos actually want to change their rotation in some cases. They want to incorporate significantly more force strikes or even skip some of their skills sometimes so that they can just focus purely on rolling, force striking, maybe doing one or two basic attacks into their force strikes. But it's really a bizarre world that we live in, but an exciting world where one possibility is not always the predominant one, and these dragons can change how you play the game. And Hunter Cerise, similarly, I mean, you can really tell from her kid, but she's just all about force strikes. She doesn't necessarily have that super awesome dragon like Dreadking Rathalos to accompany her, but Dragon Yule Jean or Leviathan on her going to be very solid because force strike damage, you do want a good amount of strength, not necessarily skill damage. She does have Tactical Retreat, which deals damage, but I think more importantly, increases the damage of her next force strike by 100%. Haste Rain fastens, or not fasten, but hastens her force strike charge by 30% for 30 seconds. Bow Expertise 2 gives her a unique force strike, which I've heard is pretty cool. Increases the force strike damage, gives it 4 charge levels, and causes it to reduce enemy strength. Burn Res, and then force strike damage and charge rate of 2, increases force strike damage of 20% and charge rate of 20%. I assume maybe she wants to do 4 hits and then a force strike, but I could very easily see her being a character who you just roll and force strike around the map, and that is your entire rotation, basically, and you intersperse that with your skills when they're ready. Anyway, that's a lot to say about the units because I hadn't made a preview to discuss them specifically, but I'm pretty hyped about them. I'm pumped about them. So let's see. We're finally into the 10-folds this long in the video. Let's get it over with. How long are we going to be summoning today? Are we going to use all our resources? I guess you can tell I've been putting it off because I am fearful. Going after Cerise has never worked out well for me in the past. So we shall see. Alright, this is just going to be a circle with dupes, so I'm going to skip. Nothing here is new, original. Unfortunately, that's going to be the case unless we see a 5-star. Then there's a possibility of something being new. That is That is a reality with Dragalia. At some point, you run out of things to try pull if you've been playing long enough, which I think is a good reality. 5-star. Only one. Is it a bow? Please. Is it a bow? Or even a dragon? Alright, it's a dragon. I would like to pick up the Dreadking. I do think it's an awesome dragon, and honestly, I wouldn't mind picking up a couple because I'm pretty strapped for Sunlight Stones. I hope it's not a Leviathan, but that is an equally likely possibility, so let's prepare ourselves. Not yet, after this. Alright! We got Dreadking Rathalos. Awesome. So, at the very least, we have the limited dragon. We can always, in the future, spend our Sunlight Stones once we get them to bind him. We have it for the collection. We have it for the future. That is my main priority at this point. Any extra copies, just icing on top. But I do think this is a really fascinating dragon and a very, very cool design of a dragon. It does make me want Hunter Berserker more. But the reason that we're not summoning on part 1 today is because I still have several days of free summons on part 1 left, and there's always the chance I could get Hunter Berserker on that. So if we don't get Hunter Berserker on any of those free summons and we still have resources left after this, then we might go back and consider going for Hunter Berserker after all. He is a really good user of Dreadking Rathalos for sure. Some of the other users that I've seen are characters like Carl. Carl is a character who got the Mana Spiral, but honestly kind of got overshadowed by the likes of Naveed and Yuden. But now, with the Striking Haste on Dreadking Rathalos, Carl can basically be a buff bot, just use the Force Strike, I'm not sure his exact rotation, but essentially hasten his team-wide buff, spam that, because of Dreadking Rathalos, and a large portion of his damage comes from Force Strikes and Team Buff, not necessarily from his primary skill. I think that that's pretty cool. Actually changes how the character works. Chelsea and other bow units, I think other than Gala Sarisse, are also pretty good users of Dreadking Rathalos. In general, bows and swords were some of the weapon types that wanted to be using Force Strikes in their rotation from the beginning, so it does make sense that they would be some of the ones who most easily adapt to him and the playstyle that he tries to elicit from players. We're getting a lot of 4-stars off these singles, and I'm being patient just in case we get a surprise transformation. That happens on Gala Lucas Showcase, and I was not prepared. It caught me off guard. So I do want to be ready for that, just in case, but this one looks like it's pretty much a 3-star, so let's skip ahead. I can't remember. I think it's one more that we have to do. It is. I always stop one too early, but better to be too early than too late on this one. Okay, so this is our last single. We're going to do some more 10-folds. Hopefully we can not spend too many of our resources, but this is what our resources are here for at this point. We have run out of vouchers, so everything going forward is going to be coming from wyrmite. Alright, 5-star. That's what I like to see right away. Let's see a bow. Okay, 1 5-star. And it's a bow. Okay, this has got to be it. It's got to be it. If it's a Nefaria, if it's a Lara Noah or Hawk, I will not be upset. I promise you that. If it's a Luis, no guarantees. But those units all need the love. Unfortunately, I have all those units, though, so I don't want to see them. I don't have Chelsea. I do not have Chelsea, so that is a possibility I would be okay with. But if this is Hunter Sarisse, we're done with the banner. We can rest easy tonight. That we have wyrmite left for Valentine's Day. Yes! Yes! Finally! After so many, what feels like years, but to be fair, months, a year, over a year, we finally have a copy of Sarisse. I've wanted this character since the Kindness in Captivity event where she starred alongside Melsa. Love the personality of the character. I think that her dialogue and writing is some of the funniest in the game. Such personality and just such energy from her. I'm gonna read you her description, which definitely seems like it could be her or not, but I'm at a loss for words. We're done with the summoning. We spent more time playing the event than we did summoning today. This is the best possible outcome right now. Okay, let's read up. Sarisse the Hunter, decked out in a full set of Mizutsune gear. After taking on a request out of kindness, she now understands the complexity of life as a hunter, including fighting, gathering, and crafting. This last sentence is just why I love this character. You go, girl. Get that G rank. I just like the charm that's there, and it feels like a very different type of dialogue that we don't get from characters like Yuden. Only Not is this sassy, and to be fair, maybe these adventurer details are always written in the voice of Not, and I had never considered that until seeing Sarisse's. But I do love the sass, I love the personality, I appreciate that she just randomly shows up and is just destroying Dreadking Rathalos in the story. And at this point, I guess one of my next projects may very well be a water bow. We shall see. I'm gonna give it a little time, see what the next Agito element looks like, because I would love to give her a 6-star weapon instead of a 5-star weapon, so I may wait on that, but doesn't this feel like a Valentine's unit? Just look at the coloration on this armor. This is some of the most beautiful armor, and I really like Japanese-style garb. And I feel like that's one of the reasons why I liked Wedding Aoi so much. I really liked her bridal dress. I feel like Sarisse definitely achieves that with this look. Finally have Sarisse to call her own. Maybe Sarisse will actually get an original someday, not just all these alts, as opposed to a Gala variant, a Hunter variant. But mission accomplished here. I hope that you were able to summon whatever your heart desired, whether it was Rathalos, Sarisse, Berserker, Vanessa, or even Fatalis. Berserker is the other big prize here at this point. Do not have him. We'll see if I'm able to get him. He is somebody who I might want to see what Valentine's Day holds before I go all in and try pull him. I know what I said at the beginning of the video is that, you know, I think that these hunter characters are going to be more limited, so to speak, than Valentine's Day. But if it really is Valentine's Day Eleonora for some crazy reason, I might have to save all my resources for her if she's a 5-star. We'll see what the future holds. I don't know. I have no idea who might be showing up for Valentine's Day. I feel like a very safe thing they could do is go with Mim. That would be a very popular choice. But Mim risks getting into Camilla territory where people don't like all the Mim alts. There aren't that many at this point, but I do think if there's a Winbow, it's gotta be Philia. You know, I said that about Hawk on the Hunter, Monster Hunter event because of him being a hunter, but Philia, her whole thing is about finding a soulmate and falling in love. So I do think that she's most likely to be the character who would get an alt of our Wind Bow characters, but you never know. They might also go back and kind of fulfill, maybe even do something for White Day, but fulfill one of these worm prints. Let's see, First Rate Hospitality. So maybe we'll get Wake to show up, or Xander. Xander seems a little less likely because Xander already has an alt, but Wake could get an alt. Just in general, the fan service has been really awesome lately with some of these worm prints. Like, the Monster Hunter event really delivered on this. This is one that features Geroda and Yuden, and in the background actually features Marty and Pietro. So, gone but not forgotten. I really hope they give Marty his due with the Mana Spiral, because he did really get skipped over. But this is a kind of a cool print for shenanigans with like Fjorm, any last offense type of trickery or memes that you want to run. The prints in this in general have been really good. Valiant Hospitality, also quite powerful. I mean, critical rate 10%, you're already in Levitt's champion territory here, which was a reasonable print to run alongside, say, Twinfold Bonds for lots of content. Nowadays, there's Punisher that tends to be better, but when that Punisher is not applicable, then things like this are very good. And this you do really need a defensive buffer, though, to take advantage of critical damage double buff, but still, very interesting print. Certainly not an underpowered print, just kind of niche. The Lurker in the Woods, this one looks best in class for characters who want to rely heavily on 4 strikes. Like, I think that this is probably going to be one of the prints that I use on my new Sarisse, I would imagine. Maybe she wants to use Stellar Show instead, because that has critical damage, and perhaps she's getting enough critical rate somehow through her dragon or through other means. But Broken Punisher is a very strong effect, so although it's for a short period of time, when you've got things, especially in the water element, like Leviathan as a dragon during break, Broken Punisher, very, very good. And I think that's got to be good on any other character who uses 4 strike. It's at least in the conversation for a worm print that you'd want to use on them. And then, of course, possibly the Dreadking of all these worm prints, the apex, this Primal Crisis print. This is something that we would have hoped to see for a long time. Max amount of strength you can get off a worm print and a large amount of critical rate. This is a very, very good print. So this was given out for free. Make sure you get it, hold on to it. It comes at level 100. But really, prior to this, the best print that combined strength and critical rate was pretty much Beautiful Nothingness, a 4-star that only gave you, I believe, 5% critical rate and 10% strength. So this essentially doubles what you're getting off of that, but does have a more stringent condition in that you need to maintain Flurry, a combo count of 15 or higher. But for units like Wands especially, this is easily their best print alongside Candy Couriers, because it's very easy for them to maintain combo, and it kind of hits all the nodes that you would want, checks all the boxes that you would want to deal a lot of DPS. You're getting your maximum skill damage off of Candy Couriers, your maximum strength off of this print, a large amount of critical rate off this print, and a large amount of Broken Punisher off of Candy Couriers. Limited prints, all of them, but still very, very good nonetheless. So make sure that you are taking into consideration the prints from this event. I would say Suit of Midnight ended up being more niche than some of the other ones, but still kind of cool for shenanigans with Fatalis. And what was the other print? Let's see. Let's look by date, descending. What other prints have I picked up recently? I guess the only other one to comment on was this one, which the free 4-star from the event, nothing super special, and I'd already mentioned that in the past. So that is going to do it for this video, everyone. I hope that you enjoyed the summoning session and gameplay session as far as the Primal Crisis new content that came out today. I'm still on this high from having summoned exactly who we were going for and nothing else, no pity breakers. This was a great day in Dragalia Lost. I'm glad I was able to record this live and lucked out, because had we gone for this on day 1 and not gotten it, it would have been very, very sad indeed. Once again, I wish you luck with your summoning. Thank you so much for watching. Take care, and I'll see you next time.